Hello there. What's going on, everybody? I'm starting a new series for Armada today, and I'm breaking down commanders, and we're going to start out with Mon Mothma. So I'm going to be taking a look at her and talking about her strengths and weaknesses, and basically all the ships that she works well with, and where you may want to use her. I also want to, before I get started on this, I want to remind everybody there is still another round of the giveaway going on right now. So if you'd like to win an expansion of your choice in the form of a $25 Cool Stuff gift card, all you have to do is become a subscriber and click the bell for alerts, and so you don't miss out when I announce, as well as leave a comment. So let's go ahead and jump right in and take a look at Mon Mothma. So to facilitate this, I'm actually using Ryan Kingston's Fleet Builder, which is a nice way to kind of break down cards and just take a look at how things can go together. So if we look at Mon Mothma reads, when a friendly ship resolves the evade token effect, it can cancel one die at medium range or reroll one die at close range or distance 1. So what does that mean? Basically, it provides an alternative way for you to use your evade token. Normally, your evade tokens only work at medium and long range, where at long range it could cancel a die, and then at medium range, it could force your opponent to re-roll a die. Well, Mon Mothma says, well, alternatively, instead of just using it the normal way, now at medium range it can cancel a die, and now at close range it can force your opponent to re-roll, or distance 1 if it's squadron. So what's nice about that is you used to not have any use at all at close range for evade tokens, and now this gives you, a way to be a little bit more effective at close range. I think she's a great commander. At 30 points, it puts her right smack in the middle, where she's right in the sweet spot of not being too expensive, but still being a little more expensive than your cheaper commanders. And most commanders tend to fall between 20 and 40, so she's like right in between. Now, she's one of those commanders that is useful for some fleets, but not all fleets. And so she doesn't rank super high on my list of Rebel commanders just because of the fact that she's a little bit limited in that she only can affect ships that have evade tokens. Now, a lot of Rebel ships do, so that does make her worth the 30 points, but she can't fit into every list. For example, she's really not good with the Mon Calamari ships, or the bigger Mon Calamari ships, the MC-75, the MC-80, and the MC-80 Liberty model, just because they don't have an evade, so she doesn't do anything for them, and they take up so much of the list that it's really not as effective. What she tends to shine with is ships that have multiple evades, or ships that really want to be in medium range, or even in close range, but medium range, I think, is her absolute sweet spot, because that keeps the maximum effect of the evade token at the maximum safe distance. Basically, if you want to throw a lot of blue dice, she's very, very good for that. If you want to throw blue and black dice, she's good for that. So, in the case of like the Hammerhead Scout Corvette here, because I'm going to start off talking about Hammerheads. She's fine. She works on a Hammerhead. She's not necessarily the best. Well, text messages. She's not necessarily the best for Hammerheads, but they because they only have one evade token. But she's still good. One of the things she gives a Hammerhead is she gives a Hammerhead the ability to cancel damage, which they didn't have any damage cancellation abilities before. So it meant that Hammerheads had to survive on either being far away or just hoping that that one extra hull. Small ships, usually a lot of times small ships will only have 4 hull, so they had a little extra hull to help them survive. They're not meant to survive that long, but she gives them the ability to cancel damage. It's very, very nice, especially when you get that double damage and you can just cancel it outright. Evade tends to work really well against smaller attacks, death by 1,000 cuts, kind of, I have, 2 damage coming at you at long range, and it's a double hit and a crit. All right, well, I'll cancel the double hit, and the 1 crit will go to shields, and now I'm okay. That's kind of the way that, you want to handle that. And she gives the Scout Corvette, for example, the ability to work at medium range and still get the full benefit of that. And if you get in close range, you can still use it to force a reroll, which is still useful. Now, on the Hammerhead Scout Corvette or on a ship like that may have wanted a card like Turbolaser Reroute Circuits, it's not as good of an idea to take those with Mon Mothma. So if you are going to run something like a Hammerhead, it may be an opportunity for you to consider a different card, like perhaps dual Turbolaser turrets, Maybe even, I don't know about XI7s, but maybe even spinal armament, depending on, if your objectives, if you're going to have things in there to help with rerolls. Maybe you've got, fleet support in your fleet. And, if you've got something to help mitigate, bad rolls, then maybe spinal armament and even gunnery teams can be nice. But I think she shines a little bit more on maybe the Torpedo Corvette that wants to get into close range. And now all of a sudden, when it gets into that black die range, the Torpedo Corvette now still has 3 different defense tokens that it can use, which can help it potentially survive for more than one turn. I think this would be a really nice option with something like Geralt's Honor, which is, kind of known as a death wish. You put this on, you're going to get in close and ram, and you're going to be dead next turn anyway. So this could potentially help save Geralt's Honor's life and give it a second turn of ramming, which can help you get more bang for your buck. So pretty cool on the Hammerhead Corvettes. What else is Mon Mothma really good with? Well, Mon Mothma's pretty good with GR75s. I'm only going to show one GR75 because they don't have a whole lot of difference. But let's pull them both out anyway. Now the difference between these two is that the GR75 medium transport without the attack is sometimes gonna just be a support ship. So she just gives it, makes it hard to kill. One thing I'll do sometimes is I'll put Bright Hope on there and Major Durlin, and she just makes, it's already a hard to kill ship. It doesn't really need Mon Mothma, but she's still useful for it, especially when somebody does have H9s and manages to get that one accuracy they need. You have another defense token that's improved now, so even more useful. So still good there, and with something like Bright Hope and Major Durlin and Mon Mothma, you can even survive some of the close range shots that you're going to take, so that you may end up taking. So it's pretty nice, especially if you're going to run something like this as like a bomber command center. I think she's maybe a little more useful as far as the GR75s for the combat retrofit fleet, especially if these combat retrofits are there to be shooting ships. Sometimes it's like the cheapest shooting ship a rebel can add, and so if you're looking at something to running these guys with concentrate fire and trying to get in there, just add as many shooters as you can. She can be very useful for that because they have to get into medium range to get that shot. Most of the time you might run them with disposable capacitors, for example. You might do that, but they generally want to be at medium range, and she's going to still give them 2 monstrously good defense tokens at medium range. So again, not super crazy good against a GR75 or with the GR75, but she's still pretty good with a GR75. You also have the Peltas. The Peltas are all right with her. See, the Pelta doesn't get as much benefit because the Pelta already has a brace, so they already have some damage cancellation. But one of the reasons I think she can be good on a Pelta is because if you're running multiple small ships, a Pelta makes a pretty good flagship because of the fact that it has the 5 hull and it has a brace. So Mon Mothma can work with a Pelta. You probably want to put her on the Pelta just so that it can survive. Either one, they both have 2 red dice and then 2 dice that you want to get a little closer for. I don't think it's a tremendous difference which one you want to do. I think maybe it works a little better on the command ship because that one's more suited to be a flagship. You may be running squadron commands. You'll want to probably stay close to your squadrons, which is probably going to put you at risk of enemy ship, enemy ship fire. So, but then again, if you want to get in close see, I just don't see a Pelta class assault ship as being one of those ships that wants to get right up in your enemy's face. It's more like it's defense in case you get up in its face. So a lot of times when I run a Pelta class assault ship, I keep them still kind of farther in the back because they're cheaper and I can get fleet support on them. That is kind of one of the things I do. I generally don't run, plus they're only speed 2. You can't really put the Pelta class assault ship right in the enemy's face. Usually, it's a little harder to do that. So she's all right with the Pelta. She goes good as a commander on if that's your flagship of a Mon Mothma fleet. I like to do that. Let's talk about some of the ships she's really good. Oh, she's actually pretty good with an assault frigate too. Kind of a similar boat as the Peltas, but the same deal. They already have a brace, so they didn't really need it. Now you're getting into a more expensive ship, and again, I think Mon Mothma works really well with a fleet full of small ships. So. And she can also really help your carriers too You already have damage cancellation. You've got one of everything, but she makes sure that even when you do get up close, you can still use one of everything. Problem is the assault frigates don't have to get up close. A lot of times they might, their maneuverability is good enough that they can kind of fly around you and do circles, like kind of circular strafe, act like the pizza crust, and treat the enemies as the pepperonis. So they're not always in close range, but when they do get in medium range, she still helps them out. I like her with Nebulons, and people don't like Nebulons very much, but I like Nebulons. I think Nebulons are a little underrated. They still could use a lot of help, but they're tougher than people think, and Mon Mothma helps that shine a little bit more because first thing is Nebulons have 2 braces, which is just awesome straight away because, a single accuracy isn't going to stop your ability to use your best token, and that's brace. But against those other shots that have, that don't have accuracy, you're even at medium range now, and people are going to try to come at you and hit your side where we can only have that one shield. Now you can reduce damage twice. You can brace and get rid of that double or that hit crit, cancel that black die that somebody threw at you at long range. Even at close range, you can force somebody to reroll their one double black crit, which is amazing. And she can... The thing that's really nice here, too, is that Mon Mothma can actually affect squadrons now. You can spend your evade to force that bomber to reroll its double. And that's awesome. That's really, really awesome. And I probably should have led with that, but... I think it's looking at the card I usually use for Yavaris, looking at the Nebulon Bees, reminded me of that. And that's just really, really strong because normally that was a useless defense token against squadrons. So really, really nice to force the reroll. You're not going to be able to cancel a die with a squadron that way, but you can force a reroll. And especially if they're running Bomber Command Center, it's really not good. Okay, let's talk about the CR90. CR90s. You gotta love them, right? You gotta love the CR90 because it's got 2 evades, which makes it a great, 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 great ship for Mon Mothma. And as a matter of fact, you can even run Turbo Laser Reroute Circus with Mon Mothma because they have 2 they have 2 evade tokens, so you can spend 1 for offense and spend 1 for defense, or you can just keep them, keep a bunch of cheap CR90s, hoping, if you've got something else in your fleet. Now that we have fleet support, we have Intensify Firepower, you could run a Pelta with Intensify Firepower. Maybe, maybe just run CR90s with something else. Dual Turbo Lasers, maybe even, Enhanced Armament, possibly, to make sure that they still get the shot. It's a possibility. I've done that before, but I just think the CR90s are great for it. Especially I really like Jaina's Light when you're running Mon Mothma too, so you can keep them behind other stuff, have an obstructed shot coming into you, but you get to shoot and it's not obstructed, so hide behind obstacles, hide behind other ships, and just have a lot of defense. It makes for actually a pretty defensive ship. Love it. You can even run Jaina's Light as your flagship here, and you just hide it behind other things. It's going to cancel damage coming in, even at medium range. It's going to be obstructed. It's going to be hard to kill that ship if it's flying right. CR90B works really, really well with Mon Mothma because here's a ship that has to be at medium range. You can't even put disposable capacitors on this ship. This ship has to be in medium range, and it's got a lot of dice if it can get there. It also makes a really good candidate for Dodonna's Pride, so you're going to get damage even on an MC80 past all the shields. It's great for that. So Dodonna's Pride is really good for that. Again, and if you end up getting close, if you get right behind somebody in a real close range, which is very likely to do when you have to get a medium range, you always run the risk of ending up at close range. So Mon Mothma is great for that. But let's talk about the best ship, my opinion. The best ship for Mon Mothma is the MC30. Absolute best ship for Mon Mothma. The MC30 is one of the hardest rebel ships to kill. Absolutely is. And one of the ways to kill the MC30 is to get up close. Because it wants to get up close anyway. It's got lots of black dice. It definitely wants to get up close. And it uses those evades to keep it alive against the long-range shots so that it can get up close and do a bunch of damage to you. Mon Mothma helps it stay alive even once it's up close. Gives it a full 4 tokens. And one of the things that's so nasty about the MC30 is it's got 2 of both the redirect and 2 evade. So Mon Mothma on the MC30, or with MC30s in your fleet, it's just so nasty. And she works very well for either one, although I think the MC-30 Torpedo Frigate is definitely the favorite here because you're more likely to get those key accuracies when you do end up with a whole bunch of double blacks. A lot of times you'll be running these with, not Gunner 18, what am I doing? Wrong card. You're going to be running these with Ordnance Experts and some type of black crit. Let's go ahead and put Assault Concussions on there. And a lot of times you will run these with something nasty, one of these titles. I don't really see Exodus Fleet being used all that much for MC-30s. I mean, they can, but more likely Admonition gets used a ton because it's a great it's the best title overall for the MC-30. But when Mon Mothma comes into the picture, suddenly Foresight, while Foresight is a good title, becomes so much better. So much better. Because now I can spend an evade at close range and force you to reroll 2 dice. I can spend an evade at medium range and cancel 2 dice. So good. And I've got 2 evade tokens too. So Foresight is made, like you don't run Mon Mothma without an MC-30 with Foresight. Like that's, I mean, you can, but that's like a rule of thumb. That's one of my rules of thumb. If you're running Mon Mothma, you better include an MC-30 with Foresight. You better. It doesn't have to be on the Scout Frigate. I'm just putting the title. I would probably run it on a Torpedo Frigate with Ordnance Experts and Assault Concussions. I probably would. But I just think she's just ideal for the MC-30. Just because this is a ship that wants to stay alive. I like the MC-30 Scout Frigate a little bit more for Sado fleets than for Mon Mothma, but they're all good. They're great ships. I just really like, and you have higher damage potential with the MC-30 Scout Frigate, but you have less chance of accuracies. So, against a lot of ships, the blue is just, you want more chance of that accuracy to stop that brace from when you do get, 6 damage on your black dice or 7 damage showing. You really don't want them to brace that much. Really nice stuff. I don't think I missed anybody. We've got the assault frigates. We talked about the CR-90s, which is really, really good. Any ship that has multiple evades is good. GR-75s are decent for. I mean, with scatter, they're already hard to kill anyway. A lot of times now, people can just ignore your flotillas anyway, since they don't count, or with the tabling rule, so they can just ignore them and still table you. Hammerheads, they're pretty good for. I think they're better on the black dice ships. So and then the MC-30s, they're amazing for. And we talked about Peltas and Nebulons. She helps everything. I think she's the best on black dice ships with, or blue and black dice ships with multiples. So CR-90B and MC-30 Torpedo Frigate, she's really, really good for. And I would probably put her either on an MC-30 or on a Pelta. It depends on if you need dice manipulation. Certain fleets, if you're running multiple MC-30s, you may just be running Ordnance Experts on them, and you'll be fine. You don't need anything extra for dice manipulation. That would be enough. You could run Mon Mothma that way. You could also run Mon Mothma on a Pelta that's running Intensify Firepower, and then have a lot of red and blue dice ships, and try to stay at medium and long range, trying to avoid close range, but having that preparation for it in case it happens to you. And that's my kind of rundown for Mon Mothma. She's just I figured she would be a good starting point for this new series of of commanders. I'm going to go through all the Rebel commanders before I do the Imperial commanders, probably because at the time I'm making this, we still haven't gotten all of the details on the Super Star Destroyer, so I kind of want to find out more about that, because that's going to factor in to my opinions on Imperial commanders, because I also want to talk about how they will affect those type of things as well. So that's what I got for you guys. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Don't forget to check out Crabbok.com. Hop in to my Discord and hang out over there. Big thanks to my patrons on Patreon. You guys help make this possible, so thank you guys so much. And as always, have a great day.